Isn't it a lovely day for a party? Trusty Tate said, looking up at the sapphire blue sky. Her best friend Rachel Walker nodded and handed Trusty a chocolate egg. Rachel was staying with Trusty for the holidays, and the dolls were hiding Easter eggs, ready for an Easter party for Jane. Mr. and Mrs. Dillon's 5-year-old daughter. There are some great hiding places here, Rachel said, gazing around the beautiful big garden. It is green lawns and colorful flower beds. She knelt down and hid the egg under the shrub. Jane and her friends will love the Easter egg hunt. It will be fun, Trusty agreed, hiding an egg under the bird bath. How many children are invited to the party? Rachel asked. 11, Trusty replied, her eyes twinkling. Mr. and Mrs. Dillon are very pleased that we have come to help out. They have been friends with my mom and dad for ages, and Jane is sweet. Then she lowered her voice. Do you think we will find another of the missing pets today, Rachel? I hope so, Rachel whispered back. Let us keep our eyes open. Rachel and Kirsty had a special secret. They were best friends with the fairies. Whenever there was trouble in fairyland, the dolls were always happy to help. And trouble usually meant that the mean Jack Frost and his goblin servants were up to no good. This time Jack Frost had been angry that he did not have a pet of his own, so he had kidnapped the 7 magical animals belonging to the Pet Keeper fairies. He had whisked them away to his ice castle, but the mischievous pets had escaped into the human world. So Jack Frost had sent his goblin servants to capture them and bring them back. The fairy queen had explained to Rachel and Kirsty that without their magic pets, the Pet Keeper fairies could not help pets in the human world who were lost or in trouble. So the girls were determined to find the fairy pets before Jack Frost's goblins did. Well, we have made a good start, Kirsty pointed out. Kitty the kitten fairy was delighted when we returned her magic kitten Shimmer. Just then, a pretty little girl with long blonde curls waved to the friends from the back door. Hello, Kirsty. Hello, Rachel, she called. She had been upstairs changing into her pink party dress when the girls arrived. Now she rushed towards them, her face alight with excitement. All my friends are coming to the party, Kirsty. We are going to have an Easter egg hunt. And then Mommy and Daddy are giving me a special Easter present, she said excitedly. Aren't you lucky, Jane? Kirsty smiled as Mr. and Mrs. Dillon followed their daughter into the garden. Jane, come and help me get the presents ready for your guests, said Mrs. Dillon, noticing that Rachel and Kirsty were still holding chocolate eggs to hide. I think Rachel and Kirsty are busy. She and Jane went back inside, and Mr. Dillon turned to the girls. It is kind of you to help out, he said gratefully. There is so much to do. When he smiled at them, would you like to see Jane's Easter present? He asked. The girls nodded, and Mr. Dillon led them to the garage. Inside, sitting on the workbench, was a packed box made of cardboard. Rachel and Kirsty peeped inside and saw a fluffy black rabbit with floppy ears nestled cozily on the bed of straw. Oh, he's gorgeous, Rachel gasped. Jane would love him, Kirsty added. Mr. Dillon smiled. Yes, she will, he agreed. She's been pestering us for a rabbit. Rachel turned to Kirsty. We'd better finish hiding the egg, she said. The dash will arrive soon. Quickly the girls hid the remaining eggs behind flower pots, trees, and garden shade. Just as Kirsty placed the last egg behind a clump of daffodils, the front door bell rang. Here they come, Rachel said, with a grin. 15 minutes later, all the guests had arrived. Soon Jane was dashing around the garden with her friends, looking for the chocolate eggs. I found one, Jane shouted, with her face glowing with excitement. Well done, laughed Kirsty. She and Rachel were standing on the patio, watching. There were shrieks of delight as some of the other children found eggs too. Oh, a little girl in yellow dress suddenly gasped loudly. Come and see. Rachel and Kirsty hurried over to the little girl, who was kneeling down in front of a tree, peering at the trunk. I just saw the Easter Bunny, she announced breathlessly. Rachel and Kirsty stared at her puzzled. They had not hidden a rabbit anywhere. Where? Asked Rachel. The little girl pointed at a hole in the trunk of the tree. It came out of there, but now it's popped back in again, she said. How do you know it was the Easter Bunny? Kirsty asked. Because it was pink, the little girl replied. Rachel and Kirsty glanced at each other in surprise. Then Rachel stared more closely at the hole in the tree, and suddenly her heart began to race. In front of the hole, she was sure she could see the faintest sparkle of fairy magic.